We got some breaking news out of college football where Colorado is leaving the Pac-12 and heading back to the Big 12. The Board of Regents officially approved the move earlier this evening. Now, Colorado was a founding member of the Big 12 back in 1996 before leaving the conference for the Pac-12 in 2011. The Pac-12 will now be losing 3 schools next season, with UCLA and USC off to the Big 10, and now Colorado off to the Big 12. All right, let's bring in Tom Fornelli of the Cover 3 podcast. So, Tom, this is something that we've been monitoring, so I don't know if it's necessarily a surprise. However, is it surprising to you how quickly all of this has seemingly gotten together?
Yeah, in a sense, it is definitely a little surprising based on the timing of it, because it was only last week on Friday, heck, not even a week ago, in which Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff was standing, at Pac-12 Media Days addressing realignment rumors, saying that he felt that the league was past it. And now here we are a few days later. News breaks yesterday that Colorado is, getting ready to vote to leave the conference and return to the Big 12. And this evening, they made the vote and they will be petitioning. They're asking the Big 12 for an invite to the conference, which seems like a formality at this point, and it's only a matter of time before that invite is accepted and Colorado goes home again to the Big 12. So it's an interesting move for Colorado in that it provides stability for the school, which is in a conference right now in the Pac-12 that does not have a television deal. And we have been waiting and waiting and waiting for a Pac-12 television deal to be announced. And every time somebody's asked about it, it's coming soon, or it's coming next month, or it's coming next week, but it never comes. And if you're Colorado, clearly they got a little antsy sitting around waiting for it to happen, and they looked at what's available to them in the Big 12, in which they will move to the conference. And unlike we have seen in other instances of schools leaving for new conferences, they're going to get a full share from day one. They're going to step into the league, and they're going to get roughly $31 million a year from the television deal that the Big 12 signed. And they clearly view that as being a more attractive option than the one that they're waiting to find out in the Pac-12.
Okay, so I've got a couple follow-ups here, and obviously they have to do with the conferences, but since you brought up the Pac-12, let's start there first. You talked about George Kliavkoff here. Let's play his comments that you were referencing back from Pac-12 Media Day last week.
In regards to, obviously, the Big 12, they talked about last year and even this year to open for business. In terms of them potentially poaching schools, is that still a major concern, or has it kind of been, nipped in the bud privately?
It's not a concern. Our schools are committed to each other and to the Pac-12. We'll get our media rights deal done. We'll announce the deal. I think the realignment that's going on in college athletics will come to an end for this cycle. And then the truth is, we've got bigger fish to fry. There are incredible opportunities and also challenges in front of college athletics. And I need to be able to work with all of my colleagues in Division I and particularly in the A5, and we'll do that. And we'll move past, kind of all the bitter squabbling of the last year, and we'll work together to make college athletics better.
So that was last Friday. Now with the news, Colorado would join USC and UCLA as programs leaving the Pac-12, which then puts the conference in a little bit of limbo here. Tom, you heard the comments. We've talked about it before, but it seems like one camp saying, okay, Kliavkoff, we're going to try to buy what you're saying. Then there's another camp that maybe Colorado is in, that every passing day that we don't hear about a new deal means you don't have a deal.
Yeah, and there's the reports that, the longer we wait, the more suitors that come. But what you don't hear about that aspect is those suitors that are coming in are lowballing because they know you're desperate for a television deal. So they're trying to see how cheap they can get your content and put it on their networks or their streaming apps, whatever they want to put it on. So it's a very precarious situation. And frankly, the Pac-12 cannot afford to wait as long to find a replacement for Colorado as it has waited for a television deal, because clearly Colorado leaving will throw a wrench in the gears of whatever negotiations are taking place for the television deal. But on the other side of that coin, there's no good way to spin losing Colorado to the Big 12. But if there's a silver lining here, it's not like you're losing USC and UCLA again. That was already a big blow you suffered last summer. And Oregon and Washington, to this point, and we don't know what the future holds, are still standing firm and staying in the Pac-12. So Colorado is a good program with history, but it is not a program that, from a television perspective, from a market perspective, is not impossible to replace. Whether it's a San Diego State or an SMU or somebody we haven't heard discussed or brought about with the Pac-12 in recent months since all this started, it's the gap between Colorado and the next school that you get to replace them with will probably not mean that much to the television deal, which is also bad because you're not going to get any more money for it. But still, they need to act quickly because the longer you sit there with 9 schools and without a television deal, the itchier that the other schools in the league are going to be. It is not as if Colorado is the only school we have heard rumors and rumblings about considering interest in the Big 12 and the Big 12 having interest in them. There have been rumors about Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. Could one of those three look at Colorado's situation and say, you know what? That doesn't seem too bad. They probably need a new partner in the Big 12. Maybe we could see if we can hitch our wagon with them and go back there. But then I also mentioned Oregon and Washington. We know that Kevin Warren, when he was the president of the commissioner of the Big 10, had some interest in those 2 schools. So the Big 10 didn't push to add them when they brought in USC and UCLA. Maybe now they look at the Pac-12 and see the shaky ground that it's on, and they kind of reconsider those options. Or maybe Oregon and Washington consider the Big 12. We don't know. What we know is there are a lot of dominoes that are probably still going to fall following Colorado's move. We just don't know which direction they're going to go and what schools it'll impact yet.
All right, we continue to live in the world of conference realignment, and it is never a dull day. Our thanks to Tom Fornelli joining us with that breaking news here on HQ. You can catch Tom Fornelli on the Cover 3 podcast. Bud Elliott, Danny Cannell, Chip Patterson, and TF. Make sure to scan that QR code, get the very latest on the guys' thoughts on conference realignment, and check them out today.